Redraw. Do you remember? Redraw. Redraw. Do you remember? Redraw.
Hello. Whoops, I'm screen sharing the wrong screen. Hold on. Give us 1 second. Axer, let's have you screen share real quick.
Yes. That would probably be helpful.
I was too focused on swallowing some food during our very important prep time that I failed to get the stream started. But hey, look at that. 2 blank canvases. Axer, welcome.
Yes. Hello. It's me.
Hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a 2D artist. I used to work freelance constantly. Then I went into video games for about 15 years, where I've worked in concept illustration and design. And I am constantly nervous and distraught. And I draw a whole lot of different things, and I paint a whole lot of different things. And I hide my misery really well, and then betray that by saying how miserable I am.
Excellent. I'm so glad you could be miserable on our show. So I'm trying to remember. I talked a little bit about this before in the stream. That how we first met, and I'm pretty sure I gave the exposition of I didn't really grow up with much Sonic stuff, but I got into the movies and I got into a bunch of content about Sonic comics off of YouTube. But I don't think that necessarily led me into your artwork. I think tangentially, I just kind of found you. I think we met on Blue Sky. Is that your recollection as well?
I have a terrible memory.
Oh no, this is the wrong show for you. Why'd you agree to this? I told you what this show was about.
I couldn't remember. I'm sorry.
No, but I think there was an interesting overlap because I was definitely looking at more Sonic art. I must have come across your 9 Inch Tails drawing, and then Blue Sky was just becoming a thing, and I think I was definitely already on my way out of Twitter, so that had to be the place that I ran into you and Cammy.
That seems correct.
Yeah. And so since then, I joined your Discord where I've met a ton of great artists and have just had a really good time hanging with you and your friends. And yeah, it's really cool to have you on here. Also, there were some folks that I don't know if they're watching, but had commented when I shared. They were also a fan of your Sonic Archie run. Specifically, that's how they got into your work. Folks that aren't related to you and Cammy's Discord. So it's kind of cool to see people recognizing you from that as well. But without further ado, are you ready to hear what today's theme is?
Yes.
And you do remember the forced delay, so just act surprised when I shout it out.
I will be shocked.
Audience, our theme today is... That's right, folks. It's not just Street Fighter 2. It's not Super Turbo Street Fighter 2. And it's not Street Fighter 1. It's Super Street Fighter 2. And then this is where you gasp.
Oh my god!
Yeah! All right. Axer, how well do you know this game?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
I used to be weirdly addicted to fighting games.
Yeah. Was this one of your first, or what? Did you actually play Street Fighter 1?
Yes, I did at a Round Table Pizza Arcade regularly. And then Street Fighter 2 came out, and it was weirdly different and much better.
Yeah, I mean, my joke was gonna be that like, did Street Fighter 1 even exist? Because you know, I'm the youngest of 4 siblings, so I had older siblings who had the Super Nintendo, and that's the console I grew up with. But I just never knew that there was anything beyond, like, first off, Street Fighter 2 had so many characters that the regular Street Fighter 2 didn't have. And so I kind of grew up with like a more expensive library than other people did. Like DJ was a new character, T-Hawk was a new character. I really liked T-Hawk because it was a Mexican fighter, and my family's from Mexico. But yeah, this game, I also spent a lot of hours playing this one. Okay, so I do want to tell you, like, we've been a little loose with the rules in previous streams where I have extended beyond I've included sequels in this too. I feel like maybe we know the characters too well in the mainline game that we might want to challenge each other with some more obscure characters. Do you think you can think of somebody that would be a good challenge?
Obscure from Super Street Fighter 2?
Maybe that's what I'm saying, is that I feel like because it's a roster of like 11 characters, I think. And like I can picture E Honda very perfectly. But I don't know Street Fighter 3 very well. I don't know many of the newer ones very well. And I figured
that's a shame.
If we wanted to expand, we can dive into those areas too. So let me think of somebody to give you, and you take a moment to think of somebody to give me.
From like Third Strike as opposed to Super Street Fighter 2?
I think if you feel like
specifically a character you just won't know.
Yeah, I'll try my best, but I do remember Street Fighter 2 very clearly, which, I mean, it could be a good challenge to see how well I do. Let's see. I think I want to give you somebody like. I was gonna say 12, but he's extremely simple. Let's do. Was it Abaddon? No, Abigail.
Oh, Abigail.
How well do you remember Abigail?
I remember the idea of him.
Perfect.
He was, because he's Andre the Giant, right?
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no.
Yeah, you're thinking of. Actually, no. I won't tell you anything. You go ahead and draw who you think Abigail is. And
wait a minute, I'm getting fucking messed up now.
No. We can't look at reference. Whoever you think Abigail.
No, I'm not pulling anything up.
Yeah.
I'm not pulling anything up. It's been a while.
Who do you think would be a good challenge for me?
I don't know if they'd be a good challenge, but it'd be at least fun for you to do Remy.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. But now I'm like gonna draw the wrong guy.
Do you think you need a description from me?
I would like to be drawing the right character.
You're in the right realm of big guy.
Is it the blonde guy with the bandana? Or was it
even bigger?
The final guy.
Even bigger.
Even bigger?
Yeah. Also, I'm not even sure if I know. I do know the name Remy, but I feel like I'm gonna draw the wrong character as well.
I'm so much better with visuals than I am with names of anything.
Yeah.
I constantly am getting corrected on the names of things, so
I'll give you
nightmarish.
So we do have the opportunity to give each other some like police sketch general ideas. So Abigail, if I'm remembering Abigail correctly, is probably just as big as the other character you were thinking of, whose name is Hugo? No, that's not right. Anyways, he's a big dude, big arms. Keep that in mind.
Right.
Small head. He wears like a pink cheetah print leotard. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has 2 giant tires on his shoulders, like as shoulder pads, like big truck tires.
The final fight guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember at all what he looks like.
Do you think you can come up with a character with the brief description that I've given you?
Not that looks like the guy. No.
then that'll make it even funnier.
Okay.
Okay. So the person you gave me, Remy, he's the fancy boxer, right?
No.
Okay, then I'm already on the wrong track.
I'm pretty sure he was the tall, skinny, long-haired French guy who's like the Guile replacement, right? Because he does the flash kicks and stuff like that.
I think that's somebody else.
Is it somebody else?
Yeah. That's
This is what happens.
Okay. Okay. Should we stick to Super Street Fighter 2 then? Or do we
no.
Want... Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm gonna draw who I think Remy is, and then you draw who you think Abigail is.
I'm just gonna be drawing a guy because I have no recollection. I thought I knew who Abigail was, but I have no idea.
What is Street Fighter but just a bunch of guys fighting?
It's just a bunch of guys.
Bunch of guys and gals just going on the street, having a jolly old street fight, right?
Yeah, having a good fighter in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Not a final fight. This isn't their last one. That's a different game.
Gosh.
Although there is a lot of overlap now.
I don't know what the target is, so I'm just gonna draw something, I guess.
So, you mentioned that you played a lot of fighting games. So did you bounce around beyond Street Fighter?
Oh yeah, I mean I played whatever my friends were playing.
Yeah.
World Heroes and anything that kind of was around got played. We played a crap ton of Soul Calibur, and Street Fighter was just like whatever was in rotation. We were playing Tekken, we were playing pretty much whatever. But I fell off eventually because I don't know. It was like people would always get in real fights. You know what I mean?
Upset. They'd like rage out.
Yeah, they'd get upset. Yeah. So nobody really kind of had a good time.
Yeah.
After a while, and I just kind of was like, well, this isn't enjoyable. And a lot of times too, you would either be not skilled enough or too skilled for whomever you were fighting, and that's just not fun for someone, and it became,
Right.
We had the Mario Party problem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The skill gap made it not fun.
Everybody's arguing.
In some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely had my own experiences with raging in the game, not because of I was necessarily really great at it, but it was a game where a lot of the people I played with, particularly my 6-year-old niece at the time, would button mash and win a lot of games playing as Chun-Li, basically button mashing the high kick. Who did you play as the most as Street Fighter?
Originally it was Guile, eventually it was Chun-Li, and then I kind of started branching out. By the time Third Strike came out, I was just like, I'll play a whole bunch of different characters because I'm tired of everybody just having one character they play, and I'll be the guy who can do everything. And it ended up not really. Nobody cares if you're good with multiple characters. They just care if they win.
Did you prefer style over like skill? Like, did you pick a character because you could master their moveset, or because you really enjoyed the character?
I liked the visuals.
Yeah.
I liked the visuals. Like, eventually, like, I was playing Ibuki, the ninja girl, because I was like, oh, a ninja girl, that's cool.
Yeah.
And, you can get good with her, but it's kind of like she's gonna have a harder time than some of the characters, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So
she's the ninja with the wind flaps in the pants.
The wind flaps, yeah.
For aerodynamic
Yeah, they're very important so that she can jump very quickly. That's why they're there.
I definitely preferred playing as Blanca, Blanca and E Honda, not necessarily because of their style, because Super Street Fighter 2 Blanca looks very raggedy, but he like I love doing not just the shock attack, because of course I would do my own spamming as well. I can't just blame my niece, but there were just a lot of like fun distance attacks that you can do with Blanca. Who was the hardest character for you to play?
Probably Dalsim, because I just didn't care.
Oh, really? Was it because he moved a little too slow?
He's a little too slow. Yeah,
yeah.
it was really awesome. Yeah. Oh man, I don't even know. I'm so lost with what I'm trying.
I think you're doing a great job.
I don't have anywhere to go with this. Gotta have long hair. Does he have long hair?
Let me know if you want me to center your screen or if you can scroll a little to the.
You're gonna have to center it a little bit.
Okay.
I'm actually near the center, but I'm off on the side.
There we go.
I have no idea what to do with this guy.
I think the hardest character for me to master was definitely Zangief. Not because of the speed, because he had power. It's just like I had to learn the combos through my siblings, because we you know, I didn't know how to look it up on the internet. I don't know if the combos were all available there yet, but nobody played Zangief, and so nobody told me that if you just press the punch and kick button, he'll start spinning, and it was that easy. But I definitely had to, I gravitated towards Ken and Ryu because everyone knew how to do the quarter circle. The quarter circle took me quite a while to figure out, because I didn't realize, as a kid, because mind you, I was like maybe 8-9 years old when I was playing Super Street Fighter. I just saw that they just flicked their fingers around in a circle, and I thought that was it. And I would get a Hadouken every off chance that the circle was an actual quarter circle. Like, I didn't understand that concept until I was much older.
Well, with Zangief, you had to do the full circle for
the grab attack.
Right? Yeah. So that was actually the one that I couldn't do because I kept almost breaking a controller. That was actually the worst part, is playing at home is you'd be breaking controllers, so you wanted to go to the arcade. So you actually had arcade sticks, because I was poor. I sure as hell couldn't afford an arcade stick. So, you gotta borrow quarters from somebody, go to the arcade.
So
play it there instead.
So in Mexico, arcades were also really big. There was a lot of bootleg arcades. Basically like a game, like one of those arcades that had like 1 million games on it. My uncle opened up a small arcade in my grandma's house, on the side of my grandma's house. And to be the grandchild of the person who owns the keys to those cabinets, I never paid for a game in my life. They had Mortal Kombat on those machines. And I got so good at just playing free games, at just opening up the machine. It's a little wire that detects the coin. Actually, in Mexico, it wasn't coin-based machines. You would use, they were pieces of metal that were coin-shaped, but they were engraved with ridges on it, so that it would only fit in the machine if it was almost like a key. It was a coin with ridges on it, like a key, and then that's how you were able to. You had to pay the person up front to get those tokens, and they were just cast out of metal. It's kind of medieval in a way. But I got so good at playing Mortal Kombat because I had infinite lives. I would challenge the tourists, the English-speaking tourists, kind of like a card shark, like a pool shark. Like, hey, buddy, you want to play a quick game? And I pay for their game, and I just decimate them. This little kid just hanging out at the arcade machine. But yeah, arcades were a big part of my childhood as well.
Yeah, I loved arcades, but I didn't get to go as often as I wanted to. If I did, it was at a Golfland arcade nearby.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a miniature golf. I have lost the plot with this character, by the way.
You're good.
All I know is you said there's tires on him. I'm like, oh yeah, there's like a Mad Gear guy, and I don't remember at all what he looks like.
You're like,
So I've just got a weird.
He's some kind of car man.
He's a man who has tires on his shoulders, and I'm not even going to try and draw it good at this point. I've given up completely.
He's a transformer. I remember when they did that crossover.
Yeah.
Capcom versus Saturday morning.
We had a Golfland, and they would usually have the bigger games on the big screen, so you would get like people showing off on those, like when they first did the person who figured out how to unlock Dan in Street Fighter, and they're playing as Dan, and everybody's crowded around the guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I heard that he can sign autographs and throw them, and oh my gosh, he did. Wow. That person who is playing it must be as important as the person who designed that character.
Right.
And is now our hero, and that's kind of how it worked.
Yeah.
No,
that amount of hype is so hard to find. Like I like one of the most popular games in my grandma's arcade was it was Mexico. Everyone loved soccer, and so we had it wasn't FIFA. It was called like power shooters or power kickers or something. But you could not get people off that game, and the crowds of folks going around just watching. It was almost like they were watching the real World Cup when you find people playing, and that kind of environment is just it's so nice. It's a very convivial experience. Okay, is this dude looking like a Remy? He looks like a Remy to me.
That does not look like a Remy, but I do know who you're drawing.
Also, this is kind of a bad aspect of this show, is that you and I are having a great conversation. We're focused on drawing. I have no idea what the chat is doing, and they could have easily just spoiled the answer already, that we're just both completely fucking wrong. But I'm not looking at the chat. Sorry, y'all. This is par for the course for Recall Redraw. Unfortunately, this is me and Axer's time.
I am drawing the third incarnation of this doodle because I gave up twice and I have nowhere to go, so I'm honestly just stalling.
Go for it.
So that
draw another car man.
I have no clue where to go with this, because I know I'm not drawing the right character, at least anywhere close to the right way, so I'm just wasting everyone's time.
No, there's no wasting time in Recall Redraw. Did you ever get into Mortal Kombat yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And then the whole ratings thing happened, and
the whole what?
The ratings thing happened with Mortal Kombat, where they're like, games are the reason that kids are violent, and we need a rating system because of this. Which was interesting, because I do believe we needed a rating system, but that was the wrong catalyst for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This guy is perfect. I don't care that he's wrong. This guy is correct.
Hey, buddy, where's his tire arms?
He's gonna have them. He's gotta work up to him.
We can't ship this character until he's got his big old tire arms.
I need my tire arms.
Yeah,
but I was into Mortal Kombat. I was just honestly playing whatever everybody was playing, which is like, if there was a popular fighting game, then I was playing it because my friends were playing it.
I'm surprised. Well, I it's not to say that my parents had such big insight into what games I was playing. I was just saying that, I was pretty young playing Mortal Kombat and didn't really think too much about the violence.
I never thought about the violence until adults thought about the violence. That's
Yeah,
what was
totally.
kind of funny for me, was like they're like, oh, games are making kids violent, and I was like, I'm just having a good time playing a very clearly game that is not real.
Right.
And then they're like, these games are making kids violent. Then I'm like, am I violent now? Does this game make me violent? And it made me more violent. Because they suggested
They were
that
right.
it did. And I was like, oh, they've manifested violence in me. The parents are actually the problem. But yeah, it was a stupid time, honestly. Which is just, kind of like other times where everybody's just like, let's panic about stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea. Guy probably has I don't know, fingerless gloves or something.
It's funny. I keep going back to my time playing video games in Mexico. But I had a cousin who had, everyone was very Catholic, growing up, especially in a small Mexican town. But my cousin who had all the video games, he had the most religiously strict mom, my aunt. Like when my cousin, my cousin's sister, well, they're both my cousin, when they brought Pokemon cards, there was a whole big fiasco about Satanism and Pokemon, and my aunt burned my cousin's cards right in front of them. But for some reason, my cousin was still allowed to play Resident Evil 4. And he even had a little chainsaw controller to go along with his game. And I'm just like, how's no one how did she not have a problem with that?
Yeah, that's kind of like, I don't know. I also think it's funny that people will burn stuff when they're like, it's bad, it's devil stuff, and then they burn it, and I'm like, that's the most devil thing you could do, isn't it? Like, just start burning shit.
You're just calling for the devil to show up.
You're summoning him. Stop it, Mom.
These are his offerings.
I never dealt with that, luckily. My parents were pretty chill. They were just like, hey, you don't want to kill people, do you? And I was like, no. And they're like, cool. Have fun. Knock yourself out.
You should have said, no. Should I? Is this why you're asking me this question, that I should be doing this?
These ratings talks have really made me want to get violent. I'm sorry, Mom, but I think I want to kill now. I've got the bloodlust. Damn.
I'm trying to think, I was gonna say, there were some games that definitely were trying to egg people on, when there was that Postal game or something. It was
yeah, the Postal game was very much ha ha ha, look, all the things you don't want, ha ha, we're doing them.
Yeah, which is kind of it's not effective either. It's not a
right.
But I never thought, in the same way you mentioned, I just never thought about being violent because of games, especially because with my older siblings, they then got into Grand Theft Auto, which is also a very extremely adult, extremely violent game. But I was still the most sheltered little kid playing this game. It just I never made the association that that I would ever do whatever I was doing in real life.
Right.
It just did. Yeah.
Are we supposed to color these?
No. I'm a.
Why are you coloring it then, huh?
This isn't a competition. This is being graded.
Only because you're winning, right?
You're busy drawing tire men.
I'm tired of drawing Tire Man. I hate being this wrong. It's really bothering me.
I want to see if I can get this color palette right too. But we're getting 30 minutes in. I won't make you suffer to draw another Tire Man, but I'm gonna color this guy in, and then we'll do the next part of the challenge. Well, we'll compare to see how close we got, and then yeah. All right, let me take a look at the chat, because they might have started a new government. They might have laws now. Let's see here. Corvana says, LMAO, too many tires? I don't think enough. I think, can we get Axer to draw one more Tire Man? Let's get
one more Tire Man.
Add some time to the clock.
No. I should have just drawn a tire. Is what I should have done.
Cammy says, "Oh, I remember the Satanism Pokemon thing. It cropped it around my area too. Yeah. And PETA tried to take them on. I see why they. Yeah, I'd see why they. It's animal fighting, right? Driftwood says, wasn't Postal made to just piss off Congress or some kind of authority entity? I'm not sure. I mean, I think to what we were saying, that I think it was just trying to, cause a stir.
That was the cat gun, the cat like shotgun or whatever was that game where they had like a shotgun with a cat corpse on it, and I was just like, what? It just was like really like we're trying very very hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To like piss people off, and I was like, this is kind of boring. But it did become a pretty good litmus test for me for like people I didn't want to talk to.
Sure.
If they thought Postal was amazing, I was like, we're probably not going to get along.
I feel like and this is I guess it's still within the topic of remembering things, but were you ever into like playing stuff on Newgrounds?
For a brief while. I think my connection to Newgrounds is less than the average person.
Yeah.
When Flash and stuff was really popular, I was very much like, Homestart Runner and whatever, but less specifically Newgrounds.
I guess the reason I bring it up is because I think that was also a really big avenue for a lot of those kind of what's it called? It's not rage bait. What the thing that Postal's trying to do, where it's trying to be inflammatory. What's the word I'm thinking of? Controversial.
Shocking.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah. And so you get a lot of those games that's like shoot Osama bin Laden, and all it was is to kind of like be gratuitous with that kind of humor. Like it just didn't serve. Like they would like there were some games that would say it was for a political statement, but it just really didn't track. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I never responded really well to that, so I tried to kind of lay low from it, which makes for a really boring guest on your stream talking about it.
No,
but
not at all.
I just decided to draw a Tire Man instead. So he's literally.
Actually, if you don't mind me asking, like, what was your what was your experience like drawing, like growing up? Like, what got you into it, or what kind of stuff did you like drawing when you were younger?
So I had a whole bunch of friends who drew, and I did not.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I wasn't one of those people that was like, I've drawn ever since I was a little kid. I was like about 16-ish when I started drawing, and it was because I had grown up in a kind of weird situation, and had been staying with some friends of mine who had come over from Japan, and they were like, look at all this cool anime stuff that America doesn't have. And I was like, whoa, cool. Like, why don't we have this? Like, why don't our comics decapitate people all the time? And I was like, dude, this is rad. I love this.
By the way, completely desensitized to violence. I think that's the result of playing the video games.
It's playing the video games. They were right. They were all right. And I was just like, oh yeah, this is really cool. And I got really into like some of the mainstream stuff like Dragon Ball and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was at a time before it had come over to America. So like, your average kid wouldn't know what the hell that was. And I actually ended up doing a talk in my law class about it. And I was like, you guys got to see this. This will be the future. Everybody will know what this is one day. And I'm really happy that that's what happened. But because of that, I got really excited. I was like, I want to draw Dragon Ball. I want to have Dragon Ball posters, but I'm poor. So I was like, if I can copy it at a bigger size, now I've got a poster for free. Mm-hmm. So that was actually specifically what originally got me drawing on the regular. Before then, if I ever drew anything, it was like people around me were drawing and I'll just doodle something because they're like, what does that look like? I'm like, I don't know, like this. So specifically, it was anime and manga that got me into drawing, and then I really, really wanted to be like a comic artist at the time, and that led to a bunch of drama with joining one of the earliest online anime art sites, and then getting kicked off of it because I wasn't good enough.
What was the earliest anime art site?
What was it called? Anime something HQ or something like that. I forget what it was. It was. You gotta remember, this was an entire lifetime ago.
Yeah.
And it was run by a dude in Canada who I sent artwork to scan it in because I didn't know anyone with a scanner.
Oh,
at the time.
wow.
So I sent artwork over to Canada from the U.S. and then he scanned it in, and he got kicked off his own site for not being good enough at art too, because art clicks kind of popped up.
Yeah.
And those people became very popular, and that wielded artistic power, and it kind of sent me on a path towards just always doing what I wanted to do instead of what other people wanted me to do, which was good. So it ended up being really nice, but at the time it crushed me because I was like, we're just having fun, and I was like, I know I suck, but I just want to draw. Because that was actually a really cool site too, because what they did was we would do a lot of like, somebody does a panel of a comic and passes it to the next person who continues the story. It's really good learning environment, and instead of learning, I just learned that people
are cruel. Hey, that's a lesson, buddy. That's a lesson if I ever heard one. That's incredible. Like you just picked up on something that you really liked, and you decided to go for it. That's really inspiring. Are you tired? Are you tired, Axer? Are you ready to see?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get those there, folks. Chime in to, with how well we did, but let's go look at what was it, Remy?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay. Is it as I described?
That is a Street Fighter character, huh? Oh lord. Okay. I do not know who the heck this is.
But should I be looking up the reference now? Should I be seeing?
I got you here. Hold on.
You got it?
Yeah. Okay. So he doesn't look like a Remy to me. This dapper gentleman here on the left looks like a Remy. Who the hell am I thinking of? Who's this guy?
And Remy usually has his coat like closed too, so he's pretty simple. I told you, tall, skinny, with long hair.
Fancy boxer, Street Fighter. Dudley, an even fancier name.
Yeah, he shows up with the car.
Look at that. Hey, I drew a good...
Let's fight like gentlemen.
I drew a terrible Remy, but I drew a pretty decent Dudley.
Yeah, no, you were pretty spot on with Dudley.
All right.
He has the really high cut hair.
All right, let's bring up Abigail. I think you did a great job. I think here's my guess. I think the long hair is from a different character, another Mad Gear.
The long hair is from the wrestler dude, with the overalls.
Hugo, I think Hugo. Okay, here is Abigail. Look at that, and I'll bring up his final fight art too.
Oh my god!
I told you he was a big guy. Hold on, let's bring up this other guy.
That is horrific. Also,
I'd say you did a great job. I think you made an amalgamation of Mad Gear characters. Here's his final fight art.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mad Gear game.
Because I was thinking of Hugo, which is the
guy who looks like Andre the Giant. But you also.
And then I was like, it's not him, so I'm like, I don't know where to go.
But you also put in a few elements of. Oh my god, I keep copying. Hold on. There's elements of other Mad Gear characters too, besides Hugo. You also put in. I don't know who this is, but the long hair is from this guy. Oh god, that's such a tiny image. There we go. I don't know who that guy is on the left.
Yeah.
And I didn't know was it Relento?
Relento.
I didn't know
yeah,
he
it
was part
from
of the
Final
game
Fight.
too. But hey,
It's because they brought in a whole bunch of Final Fight guys into the fighting game slowly from like Street Fighter Alpha and so on.
But look at that! You did a whole Dragon Ball Z fusion of these characters, and I think that looks great.
And you did Dudley,
And I drew a Dudley.
which was more accurate to a Street Fighter character than mine was, to be fair.
He definitely has a lot of not Final Fight. Not Final. What's the one I'm thinking of? That has the guy with the red swoopy hair as well. It's an SNK game.
Red swoopy hair?
SNK
King of Fighters?
King of Fighters. He looks like a King of Fighters character.
Yeah, he has the red pants, so that's like you put a strap on him and it's Iori because he's tall and skinny.
Yeah.
And has a jacket, and Iori has like the red hair, depending. Unless he's a Roki Iori, then that can change.
Is Remy just an inverted hold on. That's the guy from King of Fighters.
What, Kyo? the head of Team Japan? Remy was cool though, because it was like it was French skinny Guile was basically how he played.
Oh, interesting. I thought you were talking about Guile's army buddy.
Charlie or Nash, depending on. For whatever reason, whenever somebody's named like Mash or Nash in Japan, they just change their name in America. Like in Final Fantasy VI, Mash became Sabin and Nash became Charlie. Is just like a weird thing they do with names.
It's the natural translation.
But Charlie's a cool character design because he's got the poofy jacket that's armless, and then he's got the baggy pants.
Speaking of which, do you want to redesign Charlie with me?
Is that what we're doing? We're redesigning him? Is there a redesign goal? Because he's perfect.
This is, what do you think? We can redesign Charlie. We can also think of a more basic character from the actual Street Fighter 2 roster.
You could redesign the Tire Man with me. You could redesign Abigail.
We have it. We got enough Abigail. Let me.
Yeah, he is like he's just a tire.
I have to grab the reference graphic that we put on screen. One sec. I think you have great concept art for Abigail story. I think you should save all these drawings.
He's got like Birdie's boots and kind of like Birdie was hunched over also. So it's just I took all characters that weren't this guy and
you have to put Poison's hat on him. Sorry, I usually have this graphic handy. One sec. Do you think we need a reference for Charlie, or should we just go for it?
We can just go for it if you want. So we're redesigning him from memory?
I guess so, because usually I have a Photoshop document that's tied to OBS that I change. I cannot find the Photoshop document, so I think we're gonna run this thing round 2 of trying to draw a Street Fighter character from memory.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. We're redesigning Charlie from memory.
We're not trying to. We're redesigning him though, right? He doesn't have to be.
No, he doesn't have to be
actually...
exact. No, not at all.
Okay, because that changes things.
Because the previous reference is BMO. I'm trying to find the file directory for this reference. So for right now, that's our Charlie.
It's
fine. 1 second.
Charlie looks great. He looks like he could sell a lot of product. He looks like he could move a lot of merchandise. Feels like Tumblr would really love him.
Charlie looks very marketable.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm not finding this reference. All right, let's get rid of BMO here. All right. Bye bye Dudley. That is your real name. Had it completely wrong. And let's say hello, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how convoluted would you say the Street Fighter timeline is, or the Street Fighter story?
I mean, Street Fighter's story is kind of like not why you're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know about convoluted, but I certainly don't think that it's particularly interesting either. For me, like I always just played, arcade modes of those kind of games to just see the little blurb of like so and so.
Yeah, Ken got married.
Yeah. He went home and was a family man.
Blanca found his mother, or his mother found Blanca in the Brazilian forest.
Yeah. Like Darkstalkers was kind of the same way.
Yeah, Darkstalkers was really fun. I didn't know what the heck was going on with that game.
Really good designs is what was going on with that game.
That was style and substance, because the way their combat was also really fun. They put a lot of work in those animations. Yeah, I never, I guess growing up I didn't know it was also, well, I guess I just didn't associate with Capcom when I was a kid. I just thought it was just some fun spooky game that I only ever played once on an arcade cabinet and never found it again. Did you ever play Killer Instinct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one that we definitely had.
We had a really like sweaty dude at our arcade who mained that game, and the first time I played it, I came in and I chose Jago, who's like the little ninja guy.
Yeah.
His finisher is he drops like a Cadillac for no reason at all. And I beat the sweaty guy because I was so bad at the game, he couldn't predict what I was going to do. Because he was like, I know all the moves, I and it was like, it didn't really matter because I was so horrifically bad. He just couldn't tell what was going to happen. And he got really, really mad. And mind you, I couldn't really beat him again, but it was a really fun moment that I'll never forget. And, that's what Killer Instinct is for me.
Maybe
that and extreme violence.
No, you know what felt more violent, like just visually, was the Clay Fighter game. Because that was also just a lot of. I'm not a big fan of gross out humor in cartoons. Like Ren and I mentioned this last year. Ren and Stimpy was a hard watch for me. Just I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me. But Clay Fighter just looks so ugly to me. And
yeah.
It just was never. I never had a good time playing that game. I like claymation stuff. That wasn't the problem. It was just the style.
There was a lot of ugly stuff that kind of. Sorry, I'm really bad at talking and drawing at the same time.
No
so I'm terrible guest. But it really we're gonna pre-render stuff and then kind of cut it out and chop it into frames and put them into games was kind of like an ugly time in games. Yeah. I felt, even though like you're like Donkey Kong Country looks amazing, and I'm like, sort of. I didn't resonate with that as much, and things like Clay Fighter and whatnot were a huge, part of that time. And I don't know, they were kind of ugly. Killer Instinct wasn't particularly pretty game either.
There's a way to do it right, like especially with the claymation stuff. Like even this is off topic of fighting games, but like you ever heard of like Neverhood?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it was photographed, not Well, I don't know. How did they do those claymation renders into Super Nintendo graphics? I guess they were just compressed photographs.
They were just stills. I mean, they did the photo stuff for and digitized for Mortal Kombat too. You know, they were all kind of doing the same thing. It's just were they pre-rendering it with computer, right? Or were they taking photos and stuff like that? Poor Charlie. I'm making him look worse because he already looked good.
I just remember him being like buff, and that's the only part that registered in my brain. I drew his little glasses.
He was very buff. I put glasses on mine. Yeah, mine has glasses. I don't know if you can see mine, but he's got glasses.
I have no rubric for the show, so I don't know what constitutes a redesign. I think we're just trying to remember what Charlie looks like.
I remember what he looks like. I am definitely drawing him a little different, but I'm just kind of changing up what his jacket is, and I do know he doesn't wear a shirt, so I'm giving him like an interior shirt.
I'm worried.
Different.
I'm worried that I'm just drawing Johnny Bravo.
I'm kind of drawing like a weird version of the Sorrow from Metal Gear 3. Whoops.
I'll
the Sorrow.
I think I'm also like I'm challenging myself. Like, okay, when I started streaming, I found out that I'm gonna have to be very vulnerable with a lot of people in regards to like I don't know how to draw a lot of things. And definitely drawing human characters is something that like I'm working on some taking morning classes, which is the only reason I can figure out some of this body stuff was because of these figure drawing classes I've been doing. I don't know how to draw heads. So I hope I don't lose any credibility in my art community, but there you go. I don't know how to draw human heads. I know how to draw a dog. I could put a dog. I can turn him into a dog. What do you think?
Is that redesigning or is it hiding?
That's a redesign, I'd say. You've never seen Charlie as a dog?
I have not. This is true. I think what I'm really uncomfortable with is what we were doing earlier, where I'm just like I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what it is. Like, and then I just kind of freeze up because I'm like, well, I can draw all kinds of stuff, but I don't really.
I love how your definition of freeze up was I drew 5 really incredible, distinct concepts.
I drew a tire really quickly, and then I drew one guy who was like, "This is the start of an idea." To be fair,
I hope the pressure isn't too much. I hope you are having fun. That I'm not torturing you.
Oh, I'm fine. I don't have a problem with like, you shouldn't. I don't think that people should approach art as like you always have to be perfect. You always have to be on. I can do great art. I can do it off the cuff. I do it on my streams all the time because I'm doing things that I know I want to do.
100%.
You aren't really gonna get to relax and enjoy yourself if you're afraid of being judged for your art all the time. And I think that it's ridiculously important to just, like you said, have that vulnerability and be like, I'm screwing around, because we actually had encountered this recently in other situations on our side, Cammy and I, which was that people will try to be perfect all the time, and they suffer for it, and their stuff gets worse for it, and it just, overall, nobody can ever experiment because you're like, everything's got to be perfect. So then people just start doing things maybe they shouldn't.
That's a great
stealing and tracing and copying and all that kind of stuff. So I really do think it's important.
I think you put it very well, that essentially or I guess we both said this, that vulnerability is important. I mentioned before you hopped on here, I was telling people that, like, you know, it is good to make, like, and this I think the term is not correct, especially because I said it, but, like, you know, it's okay if the art is bad. Like, there's something, like, that's where a lot of, I think, nuances come from, is in those little mistakes. And you also, you're not going to learn if you're exactly like you're saying, trying to draw perfect all the time. When I do comics workshops with people, I have people do timed portraits of their neighbors, and not everyone's a portrait artist. I'm not. I'm not great at drawing faces, but the whole point that I try to get into people is that, like, hey, we're here to loosen up. Let's draw faces, no matter how silly they look. And I have them draw them at 5 minutes, 1 minute, 45 seconds, 15 seconds, and then 5 seconds is when everyone's having a lot of fun, because they just have like 5 seconds to draw like a squiggle. And people find that they really do enjoy when things are looser, things are less treated like homework. And then I tell them to flip the worksheet over and then do the same thing with your opposite hand, your less dominant hand. And then really driving the point that, like, we're just here to capture the idea, because the workshop is for a comic jam. So I really need them to not second guess their panels so that we keep moving the comic jam. And people get it. People totally get it. As soon as I get them to, like, to be messy, to not worry about good or bad art, they never get hangups about whether their panel is done, because they'll draw their panel till the cows come home if I give them all the time that they want.
Yeah, because you're able to just. I mean that, like, you've played like Gartic Phone.
Yeah, Gartic Phone's a great. I use it for one of my camps. I use a version of Gartic Phone with Post-it notes.
Yep, that's a really good one to get people to kind of be like, hey, don't worry about it. Just kind of get the idea out, because you're timed. And it's funny because I never do like timed exercises in my own regular life or whatever. But I think there is a value, like, when you're just like, let's convey an idea as quickly as possible. People I know grew up and cut their teeth on, like, Okaki boards and stuff, if you're familiar.
No.
It's just like, you know, drawing spaces where you can all draw at the same time on it.
Yes.
You do public posting.
Yeah.
And those people, like, learned how to convey emotion and all kinds of stuff super, super fast. And it's like a huge difference. I don't know. I didn't grow up that way, but but I think I could have benefited from it.
Yeah, I think for one thing is also, doing it with other people takes a lot of stress off too, I think. Which is fun, because that's what we're doing right now.
Oh my gosh. It's the thing.
It's happening right now. Yeah, I'm happy with how this is coming out, but I did not redesign Charlie at all. I did make him, like, beefy.
I made a really bad picture. I'm definitely having an off art day today, but
no, I think it's been incredible seeing the stuff you're coming out with. Is it because you drew 5 consecutive tiremen? Is this because you drew 10 tiremen in the first round? Is that it?
It must be. I will take the offered excuse and say, yes, that clearly must be why.
Because you drew 47 concepts for a tire man that you're then going to take.
I'm just so exhausted from it. It was just so much work.
You did a whole design team's day of work on your tire man concept. I'll tell you though, I feel you in regards to, like, the off days, especially like, I mean, I think, yeah, we talked on the Discord about like the crap with my job, and essentially, I don't know. I usually try to use these streams to actually get work done in regards to like the comic stuff that I'm working on. But sometimes you just, I don't know. I just needed to draw, like, I was drawing Bowser before you came on the call. Sometimes you
That's
just need
always a good choice.
yeah, just need to draw a good Bowser sometimes.
Yeah, I've had a lot of an extreme amount of stress in my life lately, and I'm just trying to keep up with, getting keeping up with art, so that I don't go like, well, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and it's been working. It honestly helps.
I'm glad.
To be like productive, or whatever. It's funny because like right now I'm in a space where it's like, hey, I've got more time to do my own stuff. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's like, but I'm supposed to be being productive right now, and I'm not able to, and that's bad. And then I don't want to say guilty, but I just feel weird.
Did you? I had the same. So me and my best friend, we basically have described the feeling of like, if you grew up having to earn your free time, like like you don't get to do this until these chores are done. You carry that. I mean, me and my buddy, we carried that into our adulthood, to where like, even though we have full agency of ourselves now, we can't sit down to play games because we feel guilty if we feel like we didn't earn it, like we didn't do something to earn those games.
Sometimes I get that, yeah. Other times I just really don't, and I rebel against it. Right now I'm just I'm between jobs, so I have a weird situation where like my partner is working very hard, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and they're like, oh, just do your own stuff, it's fine, use the time. And I'm kind of like, sure, but you know what I mean? But you're doing. So, but I think normally, like, if I work a job, I don't end up feeling too much like, oh man, I didn't earn this game. I actually end up like going like, I can't wait to not do this job. So I'm actually kind of like, I'm fine. But now that there is no job, I guess it's revealed that I do feel that way to an extent, right? Because otherwise I wouldn't feel that way now, where I don't have a job. So it just depends, I guess. I think I just have a limit, because I did freelance for like 14 years. So, I kind of balanced out where I'm like, I work all the time, and then I was like, I've worked my entire life away. This is no way to live. Now I refuse to feel that way, and now I guess I'm kind of somewhere in between. Right?
Because it's an adjustment of a feeling. I'm currently at the beginning throes of that, because I'm just like, I thought design was gonna be the thing that I was gonna pay my bills with until I died, and maybe that's not gonna be it anymore. And I have to kind of think about like, what are my valuable skills that I can offer that I feel comfortable doing. And I think it's nice to hear that, like, Kemi, like, says these supportive things, because it is true. Like, if it wasn't for Catherine telling me that, like, hey, like, it's fine, like, we're gonna be okay, like, I don't think I would be able to even like stop for a breath. Like, I feel like it'd be like this like, it's like instant job application mode. Like, I can't go to sleep because I should be applying to jobs, and then you just end up burning yourself out more that way too. But
it's a weird situation right now, especially in the games industry, where a lot of really prominent people can't get work right now because the industry is kind of crashing. And it is another situation too, where it's like, hey, I thought I'd be doing this forever, but maybe I won't be. And you have to have that honest conversation with yourself, and then you go on a show with a buddy, and you have to draw a character that you don't really know, and you realize maybe you can't draw today, and that's okay.
Drawing 47 Tireman concepts does that to a person.
It does, but I bailed on the redesign and just drew like a cartoony Charlie instead, and
I love that.
That's better. Now we're okay.
I also bailed on the redesign and just I just had fun with
He's
Charlie
pulling his hair out. Yeah.
Because how else do you get it that curly? You have to tease the hair.
His hair is they really wanted to get like a shape in there. But what was really cool was Street Fighter Alpha was when they started simplifying their designs. So a lot of the designs, like even when they colored them, they're very kind of like that one with Rolento you showed earlier, the artwork. They really simplified the coloring and simplified the designs in a really appealing way. And so they were able to start just doing stupid stuff with the hair and certain parts of the clothing that they normally wouldn't be able to do.
I love all of the Alpha game portraits. Those are a nice source of inspiration for me. Because they're just so clean. And it's just also like this is also probably a question for another stream because we're a little already past it to the end. But do you also get like a tickle in your brain when you just see like a nice like I don't know how to describe it, like card design? You know how like the character select screen for like Alpha has those nice like half like rectangle portraits? Like, what's up with that? I feel like you get that too, right?
Oh yeah. No, there's a presentation design thing that I really like. I get it from different things, like windscreen portraits that are framed really well, character select, things on cards that are arranged a certain way, which is actually part of why I've gravitated towards working in games that have card design stuff in it. I just really like being around that, and I think that there's a real appealing aesthetic to the presentation sometimes. And classic Capcom really, I think, did that a lot, and it's hard to not, like you said, you're just like, oh, I love how that looks, I love how that feels. There's just an energy to it. I call it cool factor. My buddy, one of my 2 guests ago, my buddy Buff, he calls it, he defined it for himself, gang fight energy. And I'm glad that you also, you recognize that feeling too, because I feel like there's something to it. I think, there's, I don't know. I didn't want to start talking crap, but there's a way that art has gone in certain properties where they took that energy out, and I'm really sad that it's not there anymore. And it's related to that conversation, but I don't want to start like throwing shade.
No,
you know what I mean?
That sounds like a great conversation for next stream. Axer, I think I've tortured you long enough. How you feeling?
I've got a Charlie here.
You got a Charlie? Let's take a look at your Charlie.
Well, we got 2 Charlies. We've got this Charlie over here that I was starting to redesign, where he's like a little different, and it intakes and adds some pockets and widens the belt and kind of lengths him out a little bit, which is whatever. That's fine. And then little blocky Charlie over here.
Can you zoom into the face of the first one? I really like, because like Guile is this very stern, rigid character, but I love how you've created kind of a counterpart where he's a little more aloof. He's a nerd. He wears glasses.
Well, his glasses, he normally doesn't have like huge round glasses. I think they're actually more like these kind of frames, but the rectangular frames. But yeah, like I just like playing into just the big glasses on the military dude.
That's so cute. That's excellent. Axer,
show me Charlie.
Axer, this is straight up craft, because you being able to pull this out in like, what was it, 30 minutes, 40 minutes of just this and talking, Really, no, it's really incredible to see.
This is slow for me. I'm usually on top of things, but it's
So-
it varies.
So for my Charlie, I thought, what if Johnny Bravo and Albert Wesker had a baby, and yeah, it would just be Charlie. I think there's no other expression. Yeah, I think here I'll do something for us. I think if this was a competition where there was a fight, which it isn't because there's no scorecard. But you know what I think, Axer?
What do you think?
I think.
You win. Perfect.
Did you hear that? Did that also
Yeah,
come through the stream? Did everyone else hear that? That's new. I added sound effects to the stream. Axer, thank you so much for hopping onto the stream.
Of course, I appreciate it.
We'll do this again next time. But do you know who's coming next week? Did you hear the word on the street?
What's the word on the street?
The word on the street is that Cammy is gonna be our next guest.
I know that person.
You don't? You know that person? And then
I know them.
And then I'm gonna and then you know what the theme's gonna be?
I do not.
Let me hold on. Let me whisper it real quick. Hold on. What do you think?
Marvelous.
Yeah?
It's perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You think it'll
Absolutely.
work? Okay, sweet.
I think it will. Absolutely.
All right.
But you're gonna need sound effects.
Okay. I'll make sure to find them. All right, Axer, thank you so much. Everybody, I did not read the chat at all. If you have conspired against this stream, I wouldn't know. Thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody have a good night. And where's the outro button? All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.